Hello everybody, we are here with your Cupid guide. We are going to be playing Cupid in the mid lane. This is the lane he is best in right now. He's viable in mid and in duo lane, but mid lane is where you're going to see him the most often right now, which is wonderful. I've long thought this to be his best lane, and now that they have buffed up Cupid's clear, the mid lane is definitely his best lane. So we're going to be starting off with our standard mid lane start. That is going to be tier 2 Transcendence, 3 health pots, 3 multi-pots, and of course getting ourselves a nice little beads against this and getting an Aegis later on in the game. Our first ability that we're going to get on Cupid, and the ability that we are going to max up first, is our Heart Bomb. Cupid fires an arrow of love. If you hit a target with this, they are slowed by 20% until that bomb goes off. And it does damage when you hit them initially and when it explodes. When it explodes, it also does AoE damage. The recent change to this ability is it now does an additional 50% increased damage to minions. This goes for the initial hit and the AoE explosion. So it does that damage listed plus an additional 50% to minions. So instead of doing 50 damage to minions, it will do 75 plus that AoE explosion of another 75, which is great. This ability can also stun as well. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner, you will see our little hearts passive meter. If you have full hearts when you use this ability, it will be a stun. So if I kill this minion, boop, you can see that it actually stunned right there that Kukulkan. Even though I didn't hit the Kukulkan with the exact ability, he was in range of the AoE. The AoE does stun as well. Another try to kill the bomb right there, get that explodey up. So you build up those heart bombs just with your auto attacks. So you can see I'm auto attacking, and it is building up those hearts. So part of that goes into our passive. So let's talk about our Cupid passive. A lot of people think that this is actually on his one effect, but it's not. This is just kind of a part of his passive. Every hit with your basic attack gives you the heart stack and increases the damage or healing on your abilities. So you can have up to 8 stacks. 8 is all the way maximum. When you have those maximum stacks, actually not when you have just the maximum stacks, for every stack that you get, you gain an additional 2% damage and healing per heart. So if you've got all 8 hearts, you're going to get an additional 16% damage on your heart bomb or additional healing on your share the love. At level 2, we get our 3. This is our getaway skill on Cupid in a slightly misunderstood ability. So our 3 is a standard dash. So it does not go over walls, won't get us through player mage like Ymir or anything like that. But this ability also passively gives us, some movement speed. This is a stun. I'm going to keep chasing, try to get in range with this 2 auto, and we got ourselves a first blood. So this ability gives you passive movement speed. A lot of people still think that you have to use the ability to get the attack speed. This is how the ability used to work back in the day. It does not work like that anymore. So for every point in this ability that you get, you gain 4% attack speed passively. That is on you all the time. It goes up to a max of 20%, and every time you put a point in this ability, it lowers its cooldown by a second as well. So you'll get your cooldown ability out more often. This is why we max this ability second. Also on this ability, when you do the actual active portion of this, if you watch my movement speed, you can see I've got increased movement speed. This also works for allies. That field, that trail that it leaves behind gives you additional movement speed. So this ability gives a movement speed, attack speed, and it's a getaway skill all in one. It does all of these things at the same time. gonna go ahead and throw down a zoning ulti right now. That should be enough to kill that Kukulkan. So to confirm once again on this 3, because it is kind of a complicated ability, it is a dash. It passively gives you attack speed all the time, and when you actually use the ability, it gives you movement speed, and yes, it affects your allies on that trail, just like a Hebo carpet. Same exact concept. That movement speed is 30%, and it lasts for 6 seconds. Our second ability is the ability that we will max up last on Cupid, and it is our sustain ability. It is called Share the Love, and when you pop it, you throw out 3 little hearts, or in this case, in this skin, it's 3 little sacks. You or your allies can go and pick up these, and they give you a small health regen, which is nice. Okay. And if an ally picks it up, it actually gives Cupid 30 mana regen. So if an ally picks it up, you get 30 mana regen and they get the health. If you pick it up yourself, you just get the health. You do not get that mana regen. So when you share the love, it has a little extra feature on it. That ability is pretty simple. And as we mentioned earlier, this ability does stack. This ability does stack with our passive as well. So if we use hearts like this, I've got 5 hearts right there, so it's an additional 10% healing. Now I should mention, your Share the Love ability will not consume your hearts. This will not consume your hearts. If I use my 1, watch this again, watch my 2. Using this does not consume my hearts, but I do get the bonus healing. Using my 1 will consume all of my hearts, and I have to build up the passive again. Your 3 has no interaction with your hearts, and your ultimate does have an interaction with your hearts. So finally, our ultimate ability, a big, fat AoE circle, Fields of Love. This has a delay on the ability. Enemies inside of the area are crippled, so you cannot use a movement ability. A movement ability means a leap, means a jump, something of that sort. Not Kukulkan's 2. So Kukulkan's Slither is increased movement speed. That is not a movement ability. We are specifically referencing things like Athena's dash, Vamana's dash, etc. So Kukulkan, using his Slither, can gain that bonus movement speed and get himself right on out of this. So this does a cripple inside of the area. If you're inside of the area, you are also slowed by 35%. And if you are in the area after it goes off, after its delay, you will be mesmerized. It does damage to you. And if you have max hearts, it'll mesmerize you for 1.5 seconds. So while you're inside of it, you are crippled and slowed. Then it explodes and it does damage to you. And if when you casted it, you have max hearts, it is also a, it is a this is a hard one to say. It is a 1.5 second mesmerize if you are inside of it. And if you have full hearts, instead of being a 1.5 second mesmerize, it is a 3 second mesmerize. Don't know why I had so much trouble getting that out. Once again, cripple movement speed. After it explodes, 1.5 second mes, unless you had full hearts, in which case it's a 3 second mes. Not very important to have your hearts stacked up for your ultimate. On your 1, your heart bomb, it is crucial that you stack up your hearts to get that bonus damage as well as the stun effect. On your ultimate, the mes of 1.5 seconds to 3 seconds is honestly not that big of a difference. You see right there, that was a 1.5 second little mes right there. It's plenty to follow up with an ability, with an auto attack, whatever. We're gonna back up. We're gonna get ourselves a warrior tabi, and I'm gonna go right into a fail not. On Cupid, I like to focus on cooldown. Really, really hard. So we've got the Transcendence, which gives us 10% CDR. I'm going to go into the Fail Not. This is going to give me 30% CDR, and very quickly. Cupid's damage is extremely ability-based, focusing on that Hearts of Love, Fields of Love combo. Also, Cupid doesn't actually need that much attack speed. We're going to be getting Atalanta's Bow as our 4th item. Atalanta's Bow is mandatory on all hunters pretty much. No matter what hunter you're running, you're going to be buying Atalanta's Bow. It's the best hunter item in the game right now. So we know we're going to have the attack speed from that. Plus, we know we've got the built-in attack speed on our 3. So we're going to have all this attack speed already from those 2 items, so I don't need to really focus on it at all. Our ability order, just to confirm for the leveling, is 4-1-3-2. 4-1-3-2 is how we level up our Cupid. The reason why we don't level up the 2, a lot of people think you level up the Share the Love first. This slight increase in healing is not that big of a deal. You're going to get so much increased healing from this ability from your power scaling that it's really just not necessary in order to rank it up. You can see I'm getting plus 30 just for my power right now compared to leveling it up gives me an extra 20. So like kinda who cares compared to I can get extra attack speed from this all the time on my Flutter, and I can get the reduced cooldown to make sure that I've got my getaway ability up more often so I'm safer. On Cupid, your standard combo is just going to go ahead and be to land your 1. If you land your 1 with your stun on it, congratulations. You know the enemy has an upcoming stun on them. And then you can throw down your ultimate right on top of them. So that way you know the ultimate is going to follow up and hit them. Now, for somebody that's got some upcoming CC immunity, you don't want to use both these abilities at the same time. You want to use one or the other. So if you know that you're going against somebody that maybe has their beads up, you don't want to throw down your heart bomb and then your ulti, because then they're going to be able to bead both effects at the same time. You're going to want to spread out those effects. So maybe you use your heart bomb, you wait until it gets closer to the stun, till they beads, you wait until after their beads, then you throw down their ulti. Or on the reverse side, if you know for sure that they don't have beads up and you're scared about how to hit your heart bomb, maybe you're not super confident on Cupid, always feel free to throw down your ultimate first. This will give them that 35% slow, and then it's a lot easier to hit your heart bomb. Now, the one thing you have to keep in mind about using it in that order is that you're not going to get the stun on your heart bomb. That's fine. You'll lose a little bit of maximum CC that way, but it is a great way to guarantee the damage. Another thing you can do as well is if you're still not feeling confident, even with the slow, in order to hit your heart bomb, what you can do is you throw down your ultimate, right? You wait for the effect to go off, so you're just auto-attacking them while they are inside of your ultimate. And then once they get the mesmerize effect on them, so they're gonna stand still for 1.5 seconds, then you use your heart bomb to absolutely positively guarantee. I'll show you right here. Ulti goes down. Actually, I'm not going to be able to show you because this guy got absolutely deleted. But in theory, you get the idea. He gets CC'd. He's standing still. Right now, I'm not using my heart bomb quite yet. I'm trying to build up a little bit of extra damage. But I know that I'm going to die right there. So I throw down the heart bomb. Make sure to utilize a couple of those extra hearts to get that bonus damage on her. And it does end up killing that Athena. So we're going to get Fail Not right now and start working ourselves into the Atalanta's Bow. Now we've got 30% CDR. We've started with our percent penetration with 10%. Our Atalanta's Bow is going to bring us up to 30% penetration. Though you don't have to get healing early on Cupid. Cupid probably one of the only hunters in the game that you don't have to get a lifesteal item on within your first 3 items. This is because specifically of Share the Love. If you're using this ability properly, you can see that right now it's already a 70 HP heal per heart bomb. So I can easily get a 200 hit point heal with that ability. Also keep in mind that the farther you throw out your heart bombs, the more they're going to be spread out. So if we throw them out like really far away, you can see kind of how these get super spread out compared to if we use it a little bit closer to us and we use it, say, close to a wall, you can see that we get these heart bombs way closer to us, so they're all stacked up. Just a little trick if maybe you're running away in the jungle or something and you want to make sure you can pick up those heart bombs ASAP. Closer you lose it, the closer you use that towards yourself, the easier time you will have. See, little boop, look at that. Cute little heart bomb set up right for me. So I'm looking for the Neith right now. She's already used her backflip. I don't want to use my ulti on him if at all possible. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to because otherwise he's going to get away. I'm going to hit him and the Hou-Yi with it right there. Get some nice poke onto both of them. And now we got to be careful because the Athena's coming in with the Vamana. They got their ulti spot. I'm going to keep running around here in the back. I'm going to pop my little heal. Keep on healing up while trying to maintain myself around my team. Your Cupid abilities do not go through walls. Dash away from that cuckoo combo right there. That was very scary. I'm going to head back over towards the Athena through the mid lane. Don't want to keep chasing and waste any more time, so I'm going to go back to farming. Maybe go do myself a little portal over here with the Hades. So on Cupid, your abilities do not go through walls. A lot of abilities go through walls in Smite. Unfortunately for Cupid, his one is not one of them. It will get blocked by the wall. Unfortunately, you cannot throw your 2 over walls. As we mentioned earlier, you can kind of see that it got, or excuse me, you can't throw it over walls, but it will, because you have to throw it really far over the wall, they will be those super spread out heart bombs. So just keep that in mind. But it can be good, you know, to throw your team a little heal over the wall. Maybe you don't want to get too close to a fight, so you just throw a little heal over the wall for one of your boys to pick up, but they will be spread out. Your dash, of course, will not go through walls because it is a dash and not a leap, but you can throw your ultimate over a wall. Your ultimate is probably the ability that you'll use over walls the most. It's a big circle, and while you can't launch it super far because the circle is so big, you can actually get it respectably over a wall. I am probably dead right here. I am definitely dead because their entire team is here. That's actually 4 people there. So what I did right there is I threw down my ultimate first on the Neith because it gives that cripple effect, and I knew that Neith's beads were down. I could go ahead and guarantee that she couldn't jet dash away. Unfortunately, she had her Aegis up, and so she was able to Aegis the damage of that heart bomb, but she did end up dying anyway, which is still nice. Sometimes you want to save the Cupid ultimate because you want to use it later in the fight. You want to use it after they beads a heart bomb so that they can't get out of it. But if you know that an enemy's beads is down, if you know that they don't have any CC immunity or anything like that, you can of course always go and use it right away, because then they're literally just stuck in this giant circle, and there's absolutely no way to escape it if you don't have a beads slash CC immune ability in order to get out. So for matchups for Cupid, we actually have great examples of both good and bad matchups for Cupid in this round, which is wonderful. So Cupid loves to go against, oh gosh, I'm gonna back it up this way to try to dodge that cuckoo. Cupid loves to go against gods that have leaps and no CC immunity. The perfect prime example of this is Neith. Neith has a backflip as her getaway skill, and she has no CC immunity built into her kit, which means the only way that she can get away from a Cupid ult is literally to beads or Aegis and force her actives every single time. That is what we love to be Cupid against. Anybody that falls into that category of no CC immunity with a getaway skill. Neith is just the prime example. Somebody that's really not great for Vamana to go against is somebody like Vamana and Kukulkan. So they're a little bit for two different reasons. But one, Vamana has a really, really long-lasting CC immunity. So while we can interrupt his dash and all, and that's great, when he pops his ulti, he will always, always, always be able to get out of our ultimate in time, and so it won't do any damage to him. There's no risk for him whatsoever inside of our ultimate. Kukulkan is the same kind of concept. Kukulkan, while he doesn't have CC immunity in his kit, has Slither. Slither gives him immunity to slows and increased movement speed. That immunity to slows and the increased movement speed will let you walk right on out of the Cupid ultimate. You immune the slows, you get a little bit faster, and so you waddle yourself right on out, just like something like a Heavenly Agility does for Cupid ulti as well. So you have to keep in mind those actives.
On my way. Ultimate is ready.
Speaking of ultis, Cupid is also a great ultimate to use as a zoning ultimate. So right there in that team fight, you can see how I positioned the ulti. How I positioned the ultimate was everybody was standing pretty close to me. So I threw them on the very bottom edge of my ultimate. So that way, if they wanted to run back into their tier 2 tower, they would actually be running deeper into my Cupid ulti. And if they wanted to get out of the Cupid ult, they would have to run towards my team. So that way, no matter whether they were sticking around or leaving, they were in the danger zone either way. This is really how you should use all giant AoE abilities in Smite. Make sure that you're placing them so that whether it's just like Hu Yi ulti actually is a great example. Just like with Hu Yi ult, sometimes you want to throw it out where they're just on the edge of one side. So that way, if they want to run away from you, they have to run through the entire ultimate, which they can't get through, or they have to run out of the ultimate. And if they do it, they're running right into you. And so either way, it's a danger zone. So now we're going to be grabbing a Blood Forge here on Cupid. You can see the kind of theme of this build. Cooldown, penetration, power. That is exactly what Cupid is looking for. Very similar to kind of Chiron in that aspect. I would say the main difference here is that Chiron really works well with Soul Eater because he's got 4 abilities that proc the damage. Cupid only has 2 damaging abilities, so Soul Eater is not a very good item on Cupid. But you can see we've got 30% CDR, we've got 30% pen, we've got actually a good bit of attack speed, 1.75, and that's strictly from Atalanta's bow and our Flutter. This increase in power build, the reason why we're running that is because of how well it stacks with Cupid damage on his abilities. Keep in mind that this ability procs twice. So this bonus 335 damage on Heart Bomb, that's a 2 times effect because there's the initial damage on Heart Bomb, and then there's the explosion damage. So right now, because I'm building this giant power build, I'm actually getting a bonus 670 damage on my Heart Bomb from the physical power scaling, which is pretty much the grossest thing you've ever seen in your entire life. And that's why we like to build power on Cupid. The reason why I went into Bloodforge is it's just a darn good item, you know. It gives you a bunch of power. We don't actually have a lifesteal item. And Bloodforge is definitely one of the weaker items in terms of straight lifesteal in the game, but we don't want it for the straight lifesteal. We want it for other things like the power. I don't know if Neat's actives are up or down. Her Aegis was up, so what I did right there is I actually waited to attack her. The Mesmerize was on her, but she still had her Aegis up. And so I made sure not to auto attack her while she still had her Aegis up. So that way, by the time the Mez was coming off, her Aegis was coming off, so I could start to maximize the damage. No reason to unmesmerize her while she still had that immunity frames up with the Aegis. Your job on Cupid, of course, in these games is the same as any other hunter. You want to burn down whatever is in front of you. You've got so much penetration in the game right now. You can see that I'm hitting this tower for 120. Even without any minions here. That's just because of how much percent penetration is in the game and because percent penetration is affecting objectives again. So you don't need to go crazy. You're playing in the back line, and you're looking at anybody in front of you on Cupid is a valid kill target. It doesn't matter whether it's this Odin. It doesn't matter whether it's Vamana. You can see the damage that I'm getting on him. Cupid, oh, I wanted to Cupid ulti that guy so bad. That was such a good, I'm going to throw down the Cupid ult now. Vamana came into it. Now I got to be a little bit careful. I'm going to start running around, making sure I'm utilizing my heals, trying to keep a little bit of distance there between me and the Vamana. And now we should be able to kind of end the game. Cupid, a little bit like Cucullin, how we talked about building up your heart bombs. You'll find that your heart bomb is basically always stacked as long as you're farming minions. On Cucullin, you kind of have to focus on making sure you're getting your rage stacked up. On Cupid, you don't have to focus in so hard on making sure that your heart bombs are built up. But if you're about to go into a team fight, sometimes I would look down and double check and see if you have that stun up on your heart bomb, because that stun is, of course, going to give you a little bit of extra auto attack, guaranteed autos on the enemy that you're fighting. And if you're so lucky as to be able to guarantee the heart bomb AoE on a couple of targets, you could get a multi-target stun, which is very, very nice. We also talked about it a little bit in the very beginning. But if you use your heart bomb on a minion and that minion dies, it will immediately do the AoE explosion. I used it a couple of times in the early game, but I just want to reiterate, if you have that stun built up and you can't necessarily hit one of the gods behind a minion, you can explode the minion and it'll do the AoE damage and the stun to the god as long as they're in that range. And that, of course, guys, is our Cupid guide.